Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Experts. I'm Barbara Ellison. I'm a transformational leader, and I want you to make the rest of your life the best of your life. So that's where I'm at, and we are so excited today. I'm going to share with you my co-host, of course, but we have a great guest, and he has got lots of stuff for us to hear about. So, Carol, how you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. And I'm Carol Henderson. I have Life by Design. I help people to lead the second half of their life better than their first half. I think that if we work things right, our life will spiral up and be better and better as we age, just like a fine wine. We don't need to die sick, old, and tired. And I find people that have all kinds of views on this, protocols, processes, programs, products, and I bring them to you. And there's a reason they're here. We don't talk about products on this show because we don't want it to just be this sales thing, but we have ways to help your life get better. And Gary is an expert on blood flow and things like that, and getting blood flow into the tiniest, teeny tiniest parts of your body. But first of all, Gary, tell us a little bit about you, where you are from, where you are now, what your favorite thing to do. So just give us a little bit so we can get to know Gary.
Okay, well, um, I'm calling you from Washington State. I've lived pretty much all over the United States. I've had the opportunity to be in all 50 states, which is pretty rare for a lot of people,
Yeah.
and most of the provinces of Canada, etc. That's my business life took me that way. And about 8 years ago, I was introduced to a therapy that has completely changed my life and changed my family's life. And there's a saying that during the first half of our lives, we compromise our health to gain our wealth. And during the second half of our lives, we compromise or we give up our wealth to try to gain back our health.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I'd like to say that's a new saying, but that was by Voltaire. So that saying is around for a while, and it doesn't seem like we've learned from it. Anyway,
Really.
yeah, I had a background in business, and about a year ago, I decided to follow my passion because when I was in high school, my classmates would call me a fixer. If there was a problem, go see Gary, and maybe he'll know somebody or come up with a solution. And so this just fits me and my lifestyle and myself just perfectly, able to help people and educate them on how important blood flow is. If we don't have blood flowing, we're not living. So that's kind of real simple background, really. But again, once I became aware of how important blood flow is, you can't feel your blood moving in your body,
Mm-mm.
right?
Mm-mm.
Except when I smash my thumb with a hammer. Now that's a different story, but I can feel it then. And so that's that's kind of my background.
So I have a question. Why
Yeah.
is that? Why is it when you smash your thumb, you can feel it throb? Do you know?
Well, you irritate a whole lot of nerves, haven't you, when you
Well,
smash your, you know, and
okay.
also immediately your body's going to try to perfuse that area with extra blood to
Hmm.
try to fix whatever you've done, right? So you're going to feel this throbbing.
Okay. Okay. Well, I knew that it would rush blood there to try to carry away the debris and the damage and repair it. And that's what the swelling and the bruising is. I hadn't thought about the nerves. So
Mm. Uh, yeah, I know with me, I did a split of and broke my toe. Yeah. And I mean my whole foot, talk about blood, my whole foot was bruised. And so when there is blood in absolutely every cell of your body, isn't there? Isn't blood? It's just it's everywhere because that's where you get your oxygen from. So how did you get into like the of just really being so interested in blood flow?
I can't tell my wife's story. She's the primary reason. She had a
Okay.
autoimmune disorder and complication of a
Okay.
car accident. And we tried everything over the years to try to help her. And then we discovered a way to improve her blood flow. And all of a sudden, things started to resolve for her. And in my case, I had issues myself from Billy in my 40s. And the doctors told me you pay for that in 20 years. And sure enough, I have, and I did. But I've been able to mitigate and improve my health. In fact, when I decided to retire, many of my coworkers said, you can't retire. You're not old enough yet. And they thought I was quite a bit younger than what I am. So I think that mirror tells us a bunch of lies. That's what happens. So,
Right.
but you're right about, you've got to have blood into your smallest blood vessels. It's got to get into the capillary bed. The only place that our bodies are fed with oxygen and nutrients and then getting rid of the byproducts is in our capillary bed. Did you know that there's over 75,000 miles of vessels in our body? And if you were to put those end to end, they would go around the earth 2.5 times.
Wow. Yeah.
That's pretty amazing. There was a publication done by the American Health Association on November 4th, 2016. And the title of it is Small Blood Vessels, Big Health Problem. And what they're finding is if you're not getting blood flow, it's the basis for many of the 45,000 diseases that we have. So you said something about cells. You've got to have blood in the cell. Well, there's 100 trillion cells in your body approximately, and they've all got to be.
Yeah.
They've got to have, and it takes blood flow. So our large vessels are about 26% of our circulatory system, and that's your veins and arteries. Those are the ones you can see, right? But the microvessels are 74%.
Right.
You can't see those. That's why they call it small blood vessels, big health problems, because traditional medicine cannot see those.
Right.
And so therefore they really can't do anything for them. So it's so important. I just can't impress upon people enough how important it is to have good blood flow. No matter what you're putting in your body, if it can't get where it needs to go, you're not going to see the benefit of it.
Right. Right. And one of the things for me, I've been in the wellness space for 30 some odd years, more years than I really care to remember, just because of some major health challenges that I had myself in my 40s. But it is so nice now to see the science and the companies that are coming up with the technology to really impact the things that we've been saying for 30 years, but didn't have the research to support it. They had, we had some, but boy, the health and wellness industry and science has come a long way in the last 30 years of just knowledge and technology and just the things that they're able to see how the workings of the human body down to those smallest cells and the smallest, what are those little things called that are part of the nucleus? The
mitochondria.
They go in flows or down into the mitochondria, and just amazing that the things that they can see. And so consequently, now we're having so many more medicinal and medical breakthroughs.
Yeah,
right. Go ahead.
A couple of years ago, I discovered a new blood vessel in our bones.
Really?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and recently there's a new lymphatic system in your brain, and that's got to be stimulated also to drain your brain so that you're getting the proper drainage and getting byproducts out of your brain and that sort of thing.
Okay, so let me ask you a question on that. walking, moving your feet and your legs gets that lymph moving, exercise and such. How do you exercise your brain to move that lymph?
Good question.
Oh, okay. I thought maybe you had some wonderful
I don't have
breakthrough
a good
for us.
answer for that one. They're just now discovering all these. I was just tagging along with your comment that
Mhm. Oh,
science is now
yeah.
discovering
Science.
all of
Oh,
these
wait.
things about the human body
Right.
that we didn't know because either they couldn't see it or they weren't aware of it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So as research, what I like to tell people is that holistic medicine and traditional medicine seem to be converging more and more
Yes.
today.
Yes.
And we've got to be what I love to say, an open-minded skeptic, meaning you've got to be open to some new ideas and alternative ways to
Hmm.
take charge of your own health.
Right. And
And
be your own be your own health
absolutely,
advocate,
that's right.
you
And
know?
I have a friend whose husband has heart issues. It is not cardiomyopathy, I think. It is not that. But anyway, he has heart issues and he went to she and the cardiologist get into it all the time because they prescribe what they're told to prescribe. And he has it was his triglycerides, which they've been at the same level for over 20 years. I mean, he was supposed to have died over 20 years ago. And they've done some alternative things. They've done some very good medical things, and he's still hanging in there. But the doctor was going, well, you have to take, he said, I'm not going to take your medicine. You can prescribe it. I'm not going to take it. And he goes, you have to. It's the protocol. He said, I'm the protocol. I know what
Mhm.
I need. And I've been doing what I'm doing for over 20 years when y'all said I wouldn't live 6 months. My numbers have not changed from 20 plus years ago. And now you're telling me I have to be on this medication? He said, no, I'm the
Yeah.
protocol. And I think more of us, and I don't mean willy nilly, this is a long term. He had been doing things with his doctor's approval until they changed. I have a paper because we used to follow Keith's cholesterol and high blood pressure very closely after, the heart attacks and back surgery and all that kind of stuff. And I have a paper where they marked out how much his cholesterol was supposed to be and lowered the number on a printed piece of paper from Walgreens. And what happened was they weren't selling enough cholesterol meds. And so they lowered the protocol of the numbers. So people need to be aware of these little things. I mean, we have a healthcare that is second to none in the world for tragedies, broken bones, car wrecks, injuries of all kinds. But there comes a time when a business is a business is a business and they need customers. And so if you can find an alternative
Right.
for that works just as well for things, then try it. Try it with your doctor's approval. And if it remedies the situation and you can go off of a medication, do it.
Right.
I'm just saying, I mean, my biggest claim to fame is getting one person, he was on 23 prescriptions, and I've got him down to 2. That's 21 prescriptions down that doctors, not doctors he was paying to see, but doctors that were friends said, you'll never get off this. And he did. And he's healthier now than he was, more active, more vibrant in every area by doing something different
Right.
that helped his body. God made our bodies to heal. And
Right.
if you give your body the right building blocks and the right support in the right areas, it will do that. And so to be on a medication for 20, 30 years, and I hear horror stories because that's where I deal. There was a drug that when the wife finally researched it, it said don't take it for more than I think it was 2 years. And he'd been on it for 25 years. And it said, don't take for more than 2 years. And nobody had ever called him on it, took him off, changed it, whatever. The doctors are so busy, they don't have time to follow up. And many of them have hired a drug specialist to make sure that they're not interacting to the point that, back in the day, I would, anytime a new prescription was offered, I would go pull up Dr. Coop's website. It says, warning, 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 don't take this with this medication. These are not good together. And so it's like, oh, sorry, that's not one you can take. So anyway, I mean, I know that goes against the grain and stuff in a lot of areas, but there's a better way. There's a better way. And Gary has some amazing protocols and products that he can provide if you want to know more about your blood flow and those micro vessels. And I also want to say just something about your lymph, because the lymph and the blood vessels are very closely related. In fact, you have more lymph than you do blood vessels, but they don't have a pump. Your heart pumps the blood, but your lymph doesn't have a pump. And so that's why exercise is so important. And that, in my opinion, is why people like dancers that were dancers, back when we were young. Who is that girl that she starred with Elvis in a couple of movies, and she was just quite the darling, but she danced. And she,
Margaret?
No, it wasn't Anne. It was another one. She had real full lips. Anyway, I'll think of it maybe before the thing, but
or at 2:00 in the morning.
Yeah, I'll come back on and go, oh, by the way. Anyway, she was a dancer as well as an actress, and she had beautiful legs. She was very young looking in her face, clear into her 70s and 80s, but it was because she danced. And if you look at people who danced back, I don't know about dancers now because I don't follow hip hop and stuff, but the dance and that exercise of everyday dancing kept them so young looking for so many years. And I think it was the lymph keeping their bodies cleaned out and keeping things opened up and moving. And the same thing with the vessels, because exercise gets your heart rate up. And of course, the food was a little less adulterated back in the day.
Yeah. It's just such a fascinating subject. I know with me, one of the reasons that I came into the wellness space was I got a sinus infection, so they gave me some sinus infection. Well, that irritated my stomach, so they gave me something for my stomach. Well, that gave me a yeast infection, so they gave me something for the yeast infection. And 5 months later, I'm now on 4 different medications and still have the sinus infection. And I finally looked at the doctor and I said, there has got to be a way. You are not helping. This is not helping. I'm now 5 months. I still have the sinus infection and I've got all these others plus the sex. And that's when I actively started looking for alternative medicine. Some other way that was going to help my body get better. And now I am so grateful because I've heard of some of your protocols and they work. And it's like, be your own boss. If you're not happy with where you're at, don't be afraid to change your medical provider. I think that's one of the biggest things.
I like to
find.
I like it this way. You can mask the symptoms.
Yeah.
Or look at treating the root cause.
Yes.
Exactly.
Our bodies were designed to heal cells, and they've got to have the right nutrient tools. They've got to have oxygen.
Right.
And one of the ways I try to explain circulation to people is imagine that your body's a freeway system, and your large vessels are the freeways. But if your ramps and on-ramps aren't working properly, traffic on the freeway is going to slow down, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And you don't, and from a delivery standpoint, the only place you get oxygen and nutrients getting into your tissues is at the capillary bed.
Mm-hmm.
So imagine a truck getting off, even if they got off the freeway, if they can't get to where they're supposed to go, where are they gonna offload all of their freight? And where are they going to pick up the other freight,
Right.
right? So,
Right.
Exactly.
so
Right.
those, and we weren't taught that in school. We were taught that your heart pumps all your blood and it needs helpers. And this muscle action is what I'm talking about that helps push that blood into your capillary bed, but
Yeah.
slows down. It operates about 3 to 5 times a minute when we're children, but it can slow down to maybe 1 every 10 minutes as we age and get older. I don't know about you two, but I can't hold my breath for 10
Oh,
minutes.
no way.
So if you know you some areas of your body that aren't getting blood or an oxygen for 10 minutes, that's going to be the start of, just, we got all these cells, one cell passing away isn't a big deal. We slough off all kinds of cells every day, but it builds up and it builds up and it builds up. Now we have the start of the disease.
Right.
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 Right. And then they
Exactly.
start replicating badly. But anyway, I did find out, and there, Juliet Prowse.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Some of that we are in the the aging expert show. So some of our viewers may remember Juliet, but she was beautiful throughout. I mean, I don't know if she's still alive or not, to be honest.
You have to look her up.
Yeah, but anyway, I mean, beautiful woman, beautiful, beautiful, but a dancer deluxe. So anyway, any final words, Barbara?
Just you'll be your own advocate. If you're not happy with how you're feeling and the results that you're happy, and are you having results that are not just numbers, that you can have great numbers, but if you're not feeling well, it's time for a change.
Exactly, exactly. Okay, anything else you want to tell us, Gary?
No, I would say just listen to your body
Right.
and take care of yourself. Make sure you get lots of oxygen, lots of exercise. And even if you can't exercise, there are ways to improve your health due to new technology and breakthroughs.
Right.
Yes, yes. And ultimately, that may get you where you can exercise. Things that Gary does helps. I've actually experienced what he does. Things that Barbara and I do help. Things that we had a guest on the other day that was working on neural pathways. It's the funniest episode I think we've ever done. She had Barbara and me doing these triangles with one hand and our other foot doing circles, and and all of it sitting down, running, sitting down, swimming, because it confuses your brain and makes your brain work better. So
Yeah.
there are things you can do to get healthier. There is no
Right.
sense in just declining because that's what's supposed to happen at your age.
But before we talked about exercising your brain, one of the things you can do to exercise your brain is do something every day with your opposite hand.
Right. Yeah.
It exercises your brain and it
Yes.
makes it physically work harder.
Yes. Go back and look at our episode. She was hilarious. And well, we were more hilarious trying to follow what she was having us do, because a foot on one side and a hand on the other doing different shapes, and our belly button, making our belly button do a circle. It's like, okay. But it was a fun episode. So please tell your friends about us. We want you to live a fuller, better life. And as I always say, we want you to be spiraling up. So watch the words of your mouth, watch your thoughts, reach out if you want to know more about what Gary's doing. Call us or put it in the chat, and we will get you connected with him, because he has some amazing stuff. Yes, he has some amazing stuff. So, and so do we. So I will be more than glad to work with any of you. But y'all have a wonderful day and a wonderful week and a wonderful fall. Isn't this a great time of the year?
It's a beautiful time of year.
Yeah.
It's my favorite season.
Okay.
Thank you for having me
Right.
tonight.
Well,
Oh,
thank
you're
you for
welcome,
coming
Gary.
on.
This was
Yeah,
great.
it was great.